Sometimes you meet someone and an unexplainable calm washes over you. It isn't loud, it isn't overwhelming. There's no firestorm of emotions or wild confusion. There is just peace, a stillness in your soul, a quiet confidence deep within that whispers, "This is right." That kind of peace is not ordinary. It is not something the world gives freely. When you feel peace about someone, it is often because God is gently showing you something beyond the surface, something aligned with your spiritual path, your emotional well-being, and your divine journey. The presence of peace in your heart is a compass, guiding you not through logic or fear, but through divine intuition and heavenly assurance. Before we dive deeper into this powerful message, I encourage you to stay with this video until the very end. Somewhere in this message, something might resonate with your soul in a way that changes everything. And if it does, I invite you to leave your warmest wishes in the comments below, along with the number 77. This simple act carries the energy of alignment and attracts the very love, peace, and guidance you've been praying for. As you do this, you not only bless your own path, but contribute to the energy that awakens miracles in the universe for others too. Now let's return to the heart of this message. When we think about peace, we often associate it with the absence of conflict or chaos. But spiritual peace, the kind that surrounds certain people, is something entirely different. It's not about avoiding discomfort. It's about feeling secure and seen, even in the unknown. It's a divine signal that this person may be connected to your purpose. That peace is not shallow. It's not fleeting. It doesn't rush or demand. It rests softly in your soul, and you feel safe. You feel steady. Even if you don't have all the answers, you know you're in the presence of something holy. God doesn't always speak through thunder or miracles. Sometimes His guidance comes in a whisper. Sometimes it's just a peaceful silence in your heart when you're with someone. A calm that doesn't make sense logically but feels absolutely right spiritually. When this happens, it's time to pay attention. You don't need to overanalyze. You don't need to ask 100 people for advice. That internal confirmation, that tranquility, is your answer. It's how God communicates with your spirit. It's how He leads you toward who and what aligns with your divine purpose. Many people confuse peace with comfort zones. They think if someone doesn't challenge them or stir emotions, it must be right. But real peace isn't about the absence of intensity. It's about the presence of harmony, even in the intensity. Some connections are fiery and chaotic, but still rooted in purpose. Others are calm and deeply grounding. When the peace you feel about someone goes beyond the surface, when it settles into your bones, it's more than compatibility. It's divine orchestration. It's God saying, "This is where you are safe. This is where you can build." You may have been in relationships or situations in the past that felt unstable, draining, or constantly uncertain. When you finally meet someone who doesn't make you question your worth, your path, or your heart, someone who simply allows you to breathe and be, the contrast is undeniable. That peace isn't boring. It's sacred. That stillness is a sign. You don't have to fight for their attention. You don't have to earn their affection. You are simply received, and your spirit recognizes it. That recognition is not accidental. It's divine. There's something beautiful about a soul connection that doesn't need to be rushed. When God is in the center, the relationship unfolds naturally. There's no pressure to prove yourself. There's no fear of abandonment. You know, in your soul, that this connection is protected. It may not be perfect, No human connection is, but it is peaceful. And peace is priceless. That quiet assurance you feel in your gut is heaven's way of saying, you don't need to run anymore. You've found safe ground. Too often, people ignore that feeling. They chase passion, excitement, or external validation. They believe love has to be dramatic to be real. But real love, divine love, is deeply peaceful. It doesn't deplete you. It doesn't confuse you. It doesn't make you question your value. Instead, it affirms you. It reflects the love of God back to you. It mirrors your growth. And even when challenges come, you know in your heart that this is a connection worth holding on to because it is wrapped in divine peace. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of God, even in the midst of uncertainty. So when you feel peace about someone, even when the future is unclear, that's a sign. It means you're spiritually aligned. It means your souls are speaking a language your mind hasn't fully translated yet. Trust that language. Trust that peace. It's more accurate than your logic, more powerful than your fears, more trustworthy than your overthinking. God often brings people into our lives as answers to silent prayers, the ones we didn't even know we spoke. When He sends someone that brings peace, that feeling is the confirmation. That's why it's important to tune into your heart, not just your eyes. The peace you feel is the spiritual signal. It's the green light. It's the still small voice saying, yes, this is safe. This is holy. This is right. And even if you've been hurt before, even if you're scared, that peace remains steady and unmoving, like an anchor for your soul. If you've been praying for guidance and you suddenly feel peace about someone, don't dismiss it. Don't overthink it. Peace is not ordinary in a world full of noise. Peace is proof that God is near. Peace is the echo of divine presence in a connection. It doesn't need to make sense to anyone else. You don't need to explain it. All you need to do is receive it and trust what your spirit already knows. You feel peace for a reason. That reason is divine alignment. God is never random. When He orchestrates a connection, He places signs along the way. Peace is one of the most powerful signs, and when you feel it, you're being shown something special, something sacred. That doesn't mean the relationship will be easy, but it does mean it will be blessed. Peace is not a promise of perfection. It's a sign of divine presence. It means God is in the midst, and where God is, there is purpose. It's easy to miss these signs when we're distracted. The world tells us to chase chemistry, intensity, or outward appearances, but spiritual peace is far deeper. It is the silent thread that ties your heart to someone else's in a way that is beyond words. If someone gives you that sense of calm, of being home, of being understood, don't let that go unnoticed. That is not coincidence. That is calling. That is God guiding you. Sometimes the peace you feel isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It simply shows up, quietly settling into your heart, like it has always belonged there. It might come unexpectedly, during a conversation, a moment of silence, or a simple gesture from the person you're connected to. You won't always recognize it right away, but something in your spirit does. It feels like you're being pulled toward them, not by force, but by divine design. It feels effortless, not because there are no challenges, but because the alignment between your souls is real. The friction fades, the questions quiet down, and you begin to sense that you've stepped into something that was waiting for you all along. In a world that constantly encourages hustle, chaos, and noise, peace can feel unfamiliar, almost suspicious. We've become so used to emotional highs and lows, so conditioned to associate intensity with love, that calm can feel like something is missing. But nothing is missing. In fact, when you find peace with someone, you've found something most people search their entire lives for. That peace is rare. That sense of calm is rare. Not because it's weak, but because it's divine. It's not based on adrenaline or drama. It's based on alignment, respect, understanding, and something far deeper than words can describe. When you feel that sense of stillness about a person, don't rush past it. Don't try to make it louder or more exciting. Don't sabotage it because it feels too good to be true. Instead, sit with it. Listen to it. Ask yourself, why do I feel so calm in their presence? Why does my heart rest when they're near? The answer might not come through reason or explanation, but it will echo in your spirit. That peace is sacred. It's an anchor, and it's your soul's way of recognizing something eternal in someone else. It's easy to overlook peace when you've been conditioned to chase emotional roller coasters. But roller coasters aren't sustainable. They leave you drained, anxious, and doubting yourself. Peace, on the other hand, grounds you. It nourishes you. It makes room for your growth, not just emotionally, but spiritually. When someone gives you that kind of peace, you don't have to dim your light. You don't have to hide your wounds. You feel safe enough to be fully seen and still loved. That kind of connection isn't just romantic, it's redemptive. You may have wondered why certain people, even good ones, didn't bring you peace. You may have confused affection or chemistry for divine connection. But peace is not found in intensity. Peace is found in truth. It's found in people who see you clearly and still choose to stay. It's found in those who don't try to fix you, but hold space for you. The presence of peace is not just about how they make you feel. It's about what your spirit senses in theirs. And when God is part of that equation, you feel it. You feel it in the silence. You feel it in the stillness. You feel it in the way your soul relaxes without needing to explain itself. Many people pray for signs from God. They ask for confirmation, for clarity, for assurance. But when the sign comes in the form of a peaceful relationship, they sometimes doubt it. They think it should be more dramatic, more obvious. But God often works in quiet ways. He doesn't always shout. Sometimes He simply brings peace to your heart when you're with the right person. No alarms, no explosions, just calm, just a knowing. That's your sign. That's how God speaks. When someone is meant to walk with you on your journey, their presence won't distract you from your purpose. It will deepen it. They won't pull you away from your path. They'll walk beside you on it. And even when disagreements or difficulties arise, you'll find that peace remains. It doesn't vanish with conflict. It holds steady, reminding you that the bond isn't built on ease alone, but on divine grounding. You'll find that even after arguments or misunderstandings, you return to that stillness together. That's how you know it's real. Relationships without peace become battlegrounds. You end up fighting for love, for recognition, for safety. But when peace is present, you don't have to fight to be heard. You don't have to scream to be valued. There is space for you, your voice, your truth, your heart. The peace that person brings is not passive, it's powerful. It says, "You are safe here." And when God breathes that kind of peace into a connection, it becomes a sanctuary. You don't always recognize the significance of peace until you've lived without it. You realize how much energy was spent in past connections trying to earn love, trying to fix dysfunction, trying to be enough. But when the right person arrives, that effort softens. You no longer feel like you're auditioning for love. You're just loved, not for what you do, but for who you are. That's what divine peace looks like. Love without performance. presence without pressure, connection without confusion. This peace is not temporary. It doesn't change with moods or moments. It's consistent, it's stable, and it's a gift. When you're used to chaos, peace can feel foreign. But over time, you begin to trust it. You begin to crave it. And you begin to recognize that it's not a trap. It's a blessing. It's the answer to prayers you didn't know how to voice. It's the result of your healing, your growth, and your alignment with God's plan. God doesn't just send people who match your preferences. He sends people who match your purpose. People who will help carry your heart, not crush it. People who bring peace, not panic. People who remind you of who you are when you forget. And when you find someone like that, you don't need to explain why they matter. You just know. The peace tells you. The stillness tells you. Your spirit tells you. You might not have all the details figured out. You might not know what the future holds. But when you're around that person and you feel at home, truly at home, that is not a coincidence. That is not just chemistry. That is a message from heaven. That peace is not accidental. It is confirmation. It is the green light your heart has been waiting for. Not everyone will understand why you choose peace. Some people will say it's too simple, too quiet, too calm. But they don't live inside your spirit. They don't know the storms you've walked through. They don't know how many nights you cried out for rest, for safety, for love that didn't hurt. So when God answers with peace, don't feel the need to justify it. Just receive it. Just walk in it. Just trust that this is what divine alignment feels like. Peace doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't scream to be noticed. But once you experience it, you can never forget it. It lingers, it stays, and it becomes the new standard. When someone brings that kind of peace into your life, they are showing you what God's love feels like in human form. They are evidence of healing, evidence of divine orchestration, evidence that your spirit has found something real. Peace isn't something you can fake, not real peace. It's not a mask you wear or a moment of calm in an otherwise chaotic relationship. It's something that resonates from within. It's a spiritual frequency you can feel when someone's presence naturally settles your soul. And once you've experienced that with a person, everything else becomes noise in comparison. Your body relaxes, your heart softens, your overthinking fades, because something about them simply aligns with your spirit. And it's in that space that God whispers, "Here is your calm. Here is your person." You may have walked through seasons where everything felt like a test, where your connections felt like lessons instead of blessings. You were constantly triggered, confused, or second-guessing your worth. And yet, even in the middle of that storm, you held on to the hope that one day you would meet someone whose presence didn't ignite your fears, but calmed them. Someone who didn't push you to be more than you are, but accepted all of you as you are. And when you finally encounter someone who feels like peace, don't question it. Receive it as the answered prayer that it is. Peace doesn't erase challenges. It simply means that even in the middle of a disagreement, your foundation is strong. You don't spiral into fear. You don't walk on eggshells. You don't shrink yourself just to maintain connection. Instead, you grow in it. You evolve in it. You rise into your truest self, because peace nurtures authenticity. And when someone gives you the space to be your fullest self, when their energy feels like rest, not labor, your soul remembers what it's like to be whole in the presence of another. There are people whose presence makes your chest feel tight, your mind race, and your spirit guarded. Then there are those who walk into your life and everything inside you exhales. These people are rare. They are sacred. They are often quiet, but deeply impactful. Their words don't always shout, but their energy speaks volumes. When they're around, you feel seen, not just on the surface, but at the core of who you are. That kind of connection is not built overnight. It is spiritually planted and divinely grown. Sometimes, the enemy of your peace isn't another person. It's your past, the trauma you've carried, the love you once lost, the heartbreak you haven't fully healed from. It tells you not to trust peace. It tells you that calm is suspicious, that when things are going well, something bad must be around the corner. But that's the wound talking, not your spirit. Your spirit knows peace. It was created to recognize it. So when you finally feel it again, or for the first time, choose not to sabotage it. Choose to protect it. Choose to believe that you are worthy of the peace God is trying to give you. You may not understand how someone can love you without needing to change you. You may have lived so long in survival mode that you forgot what it feels like to rest in love. But peace teaches you. It teaches you that love isn't supposed to be a battlefield, that not every connection needs to be earned through struggle, that sometimes the person who is right for you doesn't arrive with fireworks. They arrive with stillness. They arrive quietly, steadily, and your soul says, "I've been waiting for this." Peace is not passive. It's powerful. It doesn't just come and go. It stays, even when emotions rise or life gets hard. When a connection is truly from God, you will feel an unwavering sense of grounding with that person. You won't always agree. You won't always understand each other. But even in the tension, peace holds you together. It bridges the gap. It reminds you that your bond is deeper than your disagreements, that your foundation is spiritual, not circumstantial. The peace you feel about someone is a divine signal. It tells you that you are stepping into something that doesn't deplete you. It tells you that this connection adds to your life, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And when someone enriches your soul like that, it is not to be taken lightly. That peace is a rare gift in a noisy world. And when God allows you to feel it with someone, He's telling you, "Here, I've brought you a glimpse of heaven on earth." There may be moments when fear tries to steal that peace, when doubt creeps in and whispers, "This can't be real." But faith reminds you that what is from God doesn't need to be proven. It is simply known, deep within. Your peace is the evidence. It's the confirmation your mind doesn't need to understand, because your soul already knows the truth. The world will give you anxiety, but God gives peace. So when that peace shows up through someone, don't ignore it. Embrace it. Walk with it. Let it lead you. We're taught to chase sparks, but sparks burn out. Peace is what sustains. It's what endures. It's what allows love to deepen, instead of simply flare up and fade away. It's in the daily moments, the small gestures, the steady support, the gentle presence. And when you find that, your spirit knows it's home. You don't need to convince yourself. You don't need a checklist. You just feel it. You just know. Let that knowing lead you. Let it guide your steps. Because the peace you feel about someone may be the only clarity you need. It may not come with fanfare. It may not make sense to others, but your soul recognizes it. And that recognition is everything. In a world where so many are disconnected from themselves and each other, finding someone who brings peace to your life is sacred. It is holy, and it is a reflection of divine timing and purpose. There's a reason you feel calm with them, a reason you don't feel the need to perform, a reason your heart slows down, and your thoughts clear. That reason is spiritual. That reason is God's presence working through them to show you what is meant for you. You're not crazy for trusting your peace. You're wise. You're aligned. You're in tune with something eternal. You don't have to force what flows, and peace always flows. When the right person walks in, peace enters the room with them. When you're with them, things feel lighter, not because life is easier, but because the connection doesn't add unnecessary weight. That is what divine presence feels like. That is what happens when God is trying to show you the way. If they bring clarity instead of confusion. If you feel safe being vulnerable. If you feel heard, understood, and grounded when they speak. That's peace. That's God. That's confirmation. You don't have to keep searching. You've found what many long for. You've found what prayer and healing prepares you for. One of the greatest confirmations that you're aligned with someone divinely sent into your life is how quiet your spirit becomes around them. Not silent in a detached or numb way, but quiet in the most beautiful sense, like your soul finally stopped fighting. Like all the questions you've been asking don't need answers anymore because something within you has already answered them. That is the kind of peace you cannot manufacture. It doesn't come from logic or chemistry or desire. It comes from something beyond the visible. It comes from God. When your soul recognizes peace in someone, it isn't because they are perfect. It's because they are honest. It's because they are consistent. It's because their presence allows you to feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You're not walking on eggshells. You're not reading between the lines or wondering where you stand. You just know. Because peace is clarity. It's stability. It's assurance that speaks without words. People often confuse familiarity with peace. They assume that just because something feels familiar, it must be right. But true peace doesn't just feel familiar. It feels healing. It doesn't just feel comfortable. It feels transformative. It's the kind of stillness that brings clarity to your mind and quiet to your heart. It doesn't keep you stuck. It moves you forward. It doesn't numb you. It awakens you to what love was always meant to feel like. There are people who have brought you excitement, but not peace. Passion, but not stability. Attention, but not safety. And those experiences teach you something important. Not everything that looks good is good for your soul. Peace teaches you to value depth over intensity. It shows you that love isn't always about the highest highs. Sometimes it's about the consistent presence that grounds you when everything else feels unstable. You may be used to relationships that drain you, connections where your energy feels constantly pulled in different directions, where love feels like work without reward. And when peace shows up, when someone enters your life and your spirit breathes for the first time in years, you almost don't know how to handle it. You might question it, doubt it, overthink it. But the more you lean into it, the more you realize this is what your soul was always craving. You weren't looking for perfection. You were looking for peace. And you were looking for it in a person who reflects God's love, not just with words, but with presence. Their peace doesn't come from trying to fix you. It comes from accepting you, from seeing you in your rawness, your vulnerability, your humanity, and still choosing to walk beside you. That kind of peace doesn't just settle your soul. It changes your life. Divine peace isn't always loud. It won't always make a grand entrance. Sometimes it walks in through the side door, quietly, humbly, and stays. It stays through the mess, through the process, through the becoming. And when you find someone who doesn't run at your broken parts but holds space for your healing, that's God showing you what love really is. You might not have expected peace to look like this. You might have thought it would come with dramatic gestures or epic signs, but peace shows up in the moments others overlook. The way their voice calms your thoughts, the way their presence feels like protection, the way they listen without judgment. That's peace. That's the evidence you've been waiting for. We spend so much of our lives chasing love that excites us that we forget love is supposed to stabilize us. Love is supposed to remind us of who we are when we forget. It's supposed to help us stand taller, not smaller. And when you find someone whose energy brings that into your life, you begin to feel a deeper sense of connection to the divine. Because God is not the author of confusion. He is the source of peace. And He sends people into your life who reflect that truth. There is power in recognizing peace, not just because it feels good, but because it's a compass. It points you toward what is aligned with your growth and away from what pulls you out of it. When you meet someone and their presence aligns with your purpose, your heart doesn't panic. It rests. Your mind doesn't spiral. It quiets. That alignment is not accidental. It is intentional, and it is spiritual. You will know someone is meant for you by the way your energy softens in their presence, by the way your walls begin to lower, not because you're being manipulated, but because you feel seen, safe, accepted. That peace is your green light. That inner calm is God saying, this is what love should feel like. You fought for love before. You've chased after it, bled for it, cried for it. But this peace, this is love returning the favor. There's a kind of connection that doesn't need to be defined in 1,000 words. It's felt in a glance. It's understood in silence. It's revealed through peace. When you stop searching and striving and simply allow yourself to feel what is present, you begin to see clearly. You begin to notice the divine fingerprints all over that relationship. And you begin to understand that sometimes peace is the loudest confirmation of all. You've been through chaos. You've walked through pain. You've endured confusion, heartbreak, and disappointments that left you questioning if real love even exists. But when you feel peace about someone, that deep, undeniable stillness that roots itself inside your soul, you realize that love was never supposed to hurt that way. Love was always supposed to feel like home. It takes courage to choose peace over passion, to choose stability over emotional highs. But when you do, you choose healing. You choose freedom. You choose the version of love that God has designed for you. One that doesn't exhaust your soul, but revives it. And that love will feel different. It might not fit the stories you were told or the patterns you've lived through, but it will feel real. It will feel right. And when peace finds you, don't keep testing it. Don't keep looking for reasons to walk away. Let it stay. Let it grow. Let it teach you a new way to love, a new way to be. Let it show you that you are worthy of calm, of joy, of presence that doesn't fluctuate based on circumstances. You are worthy of someone whose love reflects the kind of peace only heaven can plant. Sometimes, the peace you feel about someone is the first signal that your heart has finally found a safe place to land. It's not just a relief, it's a recalibration. After years of emotional unrest, disappointment, or false starts, your soul instinctively recognizes when something is finally right. And it doesn't need fireworks to prove it. It doesn't need logic to justify it. That feeling of serenity, that quiet assurance, is God pulling you gently in the direction you've been praying for all along. You may have spent so much time in survival mode that you no longer recognized what it meant to feel genuinely at peace with another person. So when it comes, it feels foreign. You start wondering, is it supposed to be this easy? Shouldn't there be more drama, more tension? But what you're actually encountering is divine alignment. And alignment doesn't come with confusion. It comes with clarity. It comes with stillness. It comes with that unshakable sense that you are exactly where you need to be. You don't have to fight for what God has already written into your story. That's what peace feels like. The absence of striving. The lifting of burdens. When someone is meant for you, their presence won't agitate your nervous system or provoke your insecurities. Instead, it'll make you feel like you can finally breathe deeply again. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual evidence. That's your Creator reminding you that love was never meant to be a battlefield. This doesn't mean that you and this person will never have challenges, but it does mean that even in those challenges, your foundation will remain stable. Because peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the presence of unwavering connection. When someone has been divinely placed in your life, you'll notice that even the difficult conversations leave you feeling closer, not farther apart. Even the growing pains become sacred ground for deeper intimacy and understanding. Your peace is your compass, and when it comes to love, it should be your loudest guide. We are taught to prioritize attraction, excitement, or chemistry, but those things can fade and they can mislead. Peace, however, is enduring. It holds its ground. It roots you. It speaks to your higher self, not just your emotional impulses. And when someone consistently brings that kind of peace into your life, it is not something to take lightly. You may find yourself comparing this connection to others from your past, wondering why it feels so different, questioning whether it's too good to be true. But peace doesn't ask for comparison. It simply asks for presence. It invites you to be here, fully, to stop scanning the horizon for red flags and start appreciating the green lights, the kindness, the ease, the mutual respect. When you feel peace, let yourself rest in it. Many people walk away from peace because it feels unfamiliar. They've been conditioned to associate love with chaos. But chaos isn't passion, it's dysfunction. Peace, on the other hand, is powerful. It may be quiet, but it's transformative. It changes how you view yourself. It heals how you relate to others. It reshapes your understanding of what it means to be loved. When someone sees you and doesn't flinch, when they stay consistent without needing to be reminded, when they're patient with your healing without trying to fix or rush you, that's peace. And that's a reflection of divine love. It's the kind of love that doesn't provoke fear or anxiety. It makes you feel safe, wanted, and whole. Not because they complete you, but because they remind you that you were never broken to begin with. There's a reason your spirit responds to certain people differently. There's a reason some people stir your anxiety while others quiet it. You are sensitive to energy for a reason. Your intuition, your spirit, your emotional memory. When you've healed enough, you begin to notice that your soul no longer tolerates what used to feel normal. You start craving what is healthy, steady, and safe. That shift is spiritual. That craving for peace is holy. You're not too sensitive for wanting peace. You're not too much for needing emotional safety. In fact, the more deeply you grow in your spiritual walk, the more you'll be able to discern who is aligned with your purpose and who is not, based on how you feel in their presence. Do they bring chaos or calm? Do they distract you or center you? Do you feel like you have to chase them, or are they standing beside you? Love that brings peace is love that was formed in the divine. It doesn't require games. It doesn't require masks. It asks only for truth, for willingness, for heart. And when both people show up with that kind of openness, peace becomes the natural result. It doesn't have to be forced, it simply is. And that's when you know, this is not just a good connection. This is a God connection. You might find yourself afraid to trust it. You might feel like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. But what if, this time, there is no shoe? What if this time, it's not a trap? It's a blessing. What if the peace you feel is not the calm before a storm, but the stillness after one? Maybe you're not being set up to be hurt. Maybe you're being shown what it's like to be held. Gently, honestly, patiently. It's okay to let go of the past. It's okay to stop expecting pain. You are not betraying your history by embracing peace. You are honoring your healing. You are stepping into the answer to prayers you almost forgot you prayed. And the more you lean into that, the more clearly you'll hear God's voice whispering through the stillness. This is safe. This is love. This is me guiding you. You don't need to be perfect to be worthy of peace. You just need to be present. Let yourself experience the goodness that's trying to enter your life. Don't block it with overthinking or fear. Don't delay it by doubting what you feel in your spirit. Peace is not a feeling you need to analyze. It's one you need to trust. Because sometimes God doesn't speak through signs or dreams. Sometimes He speaks through a quiet heart and a still mind. That peace is not your imagination. It's not a fluke. It's alignment. And it's one of the most sacred things you'll ever feel. When you find it in another person, when you look at them and your soul says, "This feels right," listen. Don't let the noise of the world make you second-guess what your spirit knows. God isn't trying to trick you. He's trying to lead you. There are moments in life where your heart will feel louder than your mind, where the peace you feel doesn't make sense on paper, but it makes perfect sense in your soul. In those moments, trust the feeling. Let it guide you. Because peace doesn't just show you who is right for you, it also shows you how far you've come. You're no longer living in survival mode. You're no longer clinging to what hurts just to feel something. You're no longer mistaking intensity for intimacy. You've grown. You've healed. And now, you're being gifted with something that reflects that growth. A relationship that doesn't ask you to sacrifice yourself. A bond that doesn't demand your silence. A love that brings you home to yourself. And in that peace, you find the evidence of God's presence. Not in the loud moments, not in the dramatic gestures, but in the calm. In the way they hold your hand. In the way they remember your smallest details. In the way you feel safe simply existing beside them. That's what love was always supposed to feel like. There's a quiet knowing that settles deep in your soul when someone is meant to be in your life. It's not loud and it's not rushed. It's patient, almost like it's been there all along, simply waiting for you to recognize it. This is the essence of peace when it comes from God, a sacred reminder that what is truly yours doesn't need to be forced, chased, or questioned. It just is. When you feel peace about someone, it's as though time slows down. You're no longer trapped in your head, overanalyzing every word, action, or silence. You're simply present, living in the moment with a still heart and a clear spirit. That is what divine connection feels like. It doesn't demand constant reassurance because the energy is already stable. The bond already speaks for itself. One of the most powerful signs that God is guiding you towards someone is how they make you feel about yourself in their presence. Do you feel more grounded? Do you feel free to be your most honest and vulnerable self? When peace is genuine, it opens up a space within you that was once closed off. It makes room for softness, for tenderness, for truth. You stop trying to protect yourself so much, not because you've let your guard down recklessly, but because you sense safety. That sense of safety is God's hand moving through your life. Peace is not passive, it's active confirmation. It's the unfolding of a prayer you forgot you prayed. It's the fruit of your healing, your patience, your willingness to trust again. And when that peace is mutual, when both souls are resting in one another's presence, you'll begin to realize that love was never supposed to be about performance. It was always about presence. When you find peace in someone, it shifts everything. Your conversations change. Your expectations soften. Your fears lose their power. You begin to understand that real love doesn't come to complete you. It comes to meet you, right where you are, with everything you are. That's what peace feels like. It's love without pressure. Love without pretending. Love that doesn't ask you to be anyone but yourself. Even the silences feel holy. Even the ordinary moments feel full. Because peace doesn't need drama to feel real. It doesn't need constant stimulation to feel alive. Instead, it feels like a long exhale after holding your breath for years. It feels like coming home after being lost in the world. It feels like truth. Not the kind you shout from rooftops, but the kind you hold close, knowing it was meant just for you. God often confirms His will not through noise, but through calm. Not through chaos, but through stillness. He sends people into your life who bring you that stillness. People who don't try to rush your growth, but walk with you in it. People who see your darkness and still choose to love you. That is what peace looks like in the flesh. Love that isn't afraid of your process. This kind of peace is not always glamorous. It doesn't always come with grand entrances or fireworks, but it lasts, it endures, it roots itself deeply, because it wasn't born out of infatuation or fantasy. It was born from alignment. When your spirit, your values, your intentions, and your timing all align with another person's, peace becomes the atmosphere between you. It becomes the rhythm of your relationship. There are many people who will spark your interest, but very few who will settle your spirit. You don't need to chase sparks when you've found a fire that keeps you warm. You don't need to pursue intensity when you've found peace that strengthens you. That quiet assurance you feel around them, that's not just chemistry, that's clarity. That's divine reassurance that your heart has found a mirror. They don't need to say the perfect words or show up with dramatic gestures. Their very presence is enough. You're not questioning if you're loved. You feel it. You're not doubting your place in their life. It's already secure. You're not afraid of being too much. They meet your depth with understanding. This is what it means when God is showing you the way, not through signs alone, but through how deeply your soul finally feels at peace. You will begin to notice that things which used to trigger fear now bring reassurance. That where you once felt anxious, you now feel calm. That where you used to brace for disappointment, you now experience consistency. That's not just a change in circumstances. That's a shift in divine alignment. That's your spiritual path converging with someone else's in a way that blesses you both. And when you've found that kind of peace, nurture it. Don't take it for granted. Don't allow your past to sabotage it. You may be tempted to second-guess what feels too good. You may be tempted to look for cracks, but peace is not a trick. It's not the calm before another storm. It's the restoration after the storm. It's what comes after the healing. It's what remains when everything else fades. You've walked through fire to get here. You've unlearned the patterns that kept you bound. You've peeled back the layers of fear, guilt, and self-doubt. And now, you are standing in the blessing of peace. A peace that isn't just yours to feel, it's yours to keep. Because God doesn't just bring people into your life to comfort you. He brings people who remind you who you are in Him. People who reflect the softness you buried. People who speak life into the places that went silent. You may not have a name for it. You may not fully understand it, but your soul recognizes it. And that's enough. That quiet peace, that steady love, that unwavering presence, that's the evidence of something sacred taking root. And you don't need to make sense of it for the world. You just need to protect it, cherish it, and allow it to grow. Let the peace you feel be your guide. Let it silence your fear. Let it lead you into the kind of love that doesn't drain you, but revives you. Let it show you what it means to be truly seen, known, and loved without conditions. Because when God sends someone into your life who brings you peace, He's not just answering a prayer, He's fulfilling a promise. And in that moment, you'll realize that peace was never a weakness. It was always the strongest sign of all. Stronger than passion, stronger than words, stronger than anything temporary. Because peace is eternal. Peace is divine. And peace, true, soul-deep peace, is God's way of saying, "This is the one."